What are you waiting for? Let's go. Go, 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 go. 7 years per hour here. Let's make it count.
It's the Solo One Sci-Fi Podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's Solo One Sci-Fi Podcast after the chaos of going on and suffering a movie this afternoon. Happy New Year to all our subscribers and viewers. Thank you for sticking with us. We're now moving into the new year, and this is definitely going to be a very interesting podcast. So over in the far corner in the next box, I introduce my co-host, the amazing Coquelad. Please check out his channel, and I'm by the gods of science fiction. And I cover the obscure stuff that nobody really hears of, but I have a fascination for it. So welcome to the podcast, and Michael, over to you.
Hello, sir. Happy New Year. We're back with another new year. As we've just beginning recording, we're not sure until this actually is looked at whether we are now presented to each other side by side rather than the usual way of doing it, because we did a green screen Christmas message and I've messed it up, and Zoom, it's not straightforward as to how to go back. So if we're side by side,
Hello?
it's... Oh, God, does sound gone.
Oh.
Hello?
Can you hear me talking?
Yes?
Oh, right.
Okay.
My speaker's changed. No, my speaker's changed. I bought these super fucking headphones, and they're like... and when they're plugged into a microphone, you can hear somebody fart a mile away. They're amazing.
That's good. That's especially London.
But suddenly volume's gone down. Don't know why. There's something going on.
So someone who lives in London, then it's full of farters. So you're going to have a lot of fart interference. So it's nice to be back. And so you had a nice Christmas, did you?
It was very quiet, and I quite liked it for being very quiet.
Yeah, I mean, my Christmas was okay. It was a bit of a weird one this year. I don't know why, but we finished, because I normally just work term time based. Where we are, the schools finished very, very early. They finished on the 15th of December, and then they started back today, and we're recording this on the 2nd of Jan. So, as you can imagine, it was a bit of a... And this morning, it was 7:30. It was literally almost twilight. It was a really bad...
Something's happened.
Uh-oh, what?
I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me? All right, okay. This is a latest technical difficulty here.
Wait, we're over it now. It's sorted.
All right, I think you're... Yeah, that's fine.
I unplugged and plugged and plugged and... You know,
something to do with plugs.
Yeah.
It's going to go like that's sort of like
USBs.
That. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what a family show? What a family show.
No, I was talking about plug socket. USB.
I will not tolerate that kind of filthy behaviour on here.
No, I know exactly.
Because they're all going to be outside your house tomorrow.
What, the USB brigade?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's pretty windy over here today, and it was windy, and it didn't have a name for it. So it's strange because normally if it's a windy day, it gets like Windy Day Wesley or something, as you get on the weather people, and they give it a name, which I really hate.
It's windy. It's insane.
Yeah, but there's no name though. It hasn't got a name for it, so it's not. You can't accept that because you need to name the storms or windy days because some twat thinks it's very clever. So anyway, a few things blown over today I saw outside, but it's great to be back. So, Christmas, what did you see on TV? There's only one thing that I saw on TV. I know you saw it as well, and I think this is really one thing we want to talk about. The two things is the film and this particular TV show. It's been around for a while, and it came back for a first Christmas special since I think it was 2017, 2018. It's been a while. And that was, of course, Doctor Who with the new Dr. Ncuti Gatwa. And is it Millie Gibson, the companion, who plays Ruby Sunday, I think she's called?
Yes, she's in Coronation Street, apparently.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't watch that shit.
No, it's what I read about her.
Yeah. It's funny because I saw the other day we had the TV on random and it came on and EastEnders was on. And I've not watched EastEnders for 20 years, and all the same people were there. You had Sharon, you had Kathy Beale, you had Ian, and I thought, Jesus Christ, people sit there watching this shit 5 days a week or whatever it is. And Oh my God.
Well, get this. I saw an article came up on my phone. Ken Barlow, who's 91, has signed another contract for Coronation Street. Fucking 91. He's been there since episode 1. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so is he going to be in the old folks' home or something like?
I
The
don't
Nurse or something?
know. Well, he can't be going around having affairs again, can he? He's 91 now. I mean,
Well,
you
I don't
know.
know. Well, I don't know. It might be a northern libido kind of thing. It's like, that's
Really?
I don't know.
Northern libido like that.
Well, you never know.
Well, at it in the care room, yeah.
Well, yeah,
okay.
exactly. The nurse is sort of like giving him his bed bath, and she's getting a bit more from it, kind of thing.
Well, I have to say, it does. I mean, I saw a picture of him. He does look good for 91. I mean, I think he's a Time Lord. He's on the verge of regeneration.
Mind you, we had Angie Watts on Doctor Who, didn't we? Anita Dobson came back.
We did. I thought I know her, and then I found out it was Anita Dobson.
I don't like Brian May, who she's married to. I know everybody thinks he's wonderful, but he's got no sense of humour. And he got pranked once by Wackhead Simpson, and he said, "Don't you ever take this number again." And I just thought, "Oh, you twat! It's just a joke, you fucking idiot." I hate people like themselves. You know what I mean? Okay, he's good with his wrist and everything, with his guitar.
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah. But get a sense of humour, mate. Okay, it's just a joke. Okay, life's too short. So anyway. And of course, Dirty Den was in the Classic Who as well, so just a nice that Den and Angie have now.
Yes, he was. Yeah. There's Davros' assistant.
Davros' assistant, yeah, and he was, and he had sort of like a Dalek helmet on his head, I think it was. So, Doctor Who, what did you think of the first episode of Shooting Over?
I wasn't that impressed, to be honest.
Yeah, it was all right.
I was expecting. We discussed it. I liked the one before
The Giggle.
The Giggle. I did really enjoy that, even though there were a lot of faults with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I found this, Disney. Well, first thing I know, it didn't take long. It was something to do with cinematography. It was very Disney.
It was really bright. I watched it and I thought
Disney have that colourful, bright thing in all the stuff, don't they?
Because I watched it 1080p.
Yeah,
and I thought,
yeah.
I actually checked in to see if it wasn't actually 4K because it was so sharp, even for 1080p.
Yeah,
really
it was very
bright.
Disney, yeah.
And it had very visually, it was very different. Even compared to the last episode, it seemed to be even brighter. I don't know whether it's just, especially the outside scenes, like when you see a bus or something, or Big Ben.
Yeah.
It was really, it looked good.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It did look good.
Thing.
But I don't know why it was so different. Whether it's a Disney
I found the story very weak.
I will say that Christmas specials, they tend to be very kind of frothy. They tend to be part of just it's Christmas Day, and it's kind of like they make them so that you're sitting there when you've had about three or four pints of lager, too much turkey, and you're slumped in the chair and you just let it wash over you, kind of thing. That's how I see Doctor Who Christmas specials, and this one did do that. It did have the half sober kind of full fatty, wasted kind of Christmas Day. Oh, it's Doctor Who. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's the Doctor. Oh, all right. So, what is it that you found as a negative about it? What is it that put you off it?
I was expecting, all right, I've had some interesting conversations about this, and I'm not going to get political, but sometimes I'm starting to wonder, is this being made for a certain audience?
You mean a younger audience?
Well, I don't know. Are they putting it? Because, when I watched it, obviously we're all in there, weren't it? And there were quite a lot of... there was. I'm not going to say it, but I think I counted at least. I was going to text you, actually, but I thought, because it's Christmas Day,
Tick.
There was a lot of ticks in there, and that from the first fucking second it started. I don't have if we go back to Doctor Who Christmas special, the David Tennant first one was marvellous.
That's the one I like the least, actually. I like the Giggle the best one, and I quite.
I found that were very high energy. I would have preferred to have had the Giggle on Christmas Day. I think that would have been perfect for Christmas Day. I found this episode, I know it was all about her and it's only the pilot episode, but I wasn't really gelling with it. at all.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it wasn't bad, but the story was nothing new. I found Chewie, he was all right. I wanted more of like him being a bit more alien with
Yeah,
it,
the problem with him,
and it lacks a lot of that. A lot of people freaked out when they saw him at nightclub.
yeah, well, that was another tick box thing, wasn't it? Really, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, like we've had this discussion. We're living in it's 2023 now, so I mean,
2024 now, yeah.
2024, and things are gonna move on. Whether you would like it or not. But for the first episode, I found it lacked gravitas. I did, it was all right. I'm not gonna. My judgment's still out until I've seen the next series. One episode doesn't
Yeah, that's fair enough.
command 13 episodes. It just don't. But it was okay. It was like an hour and 10 minutes of a filler, and it went very quick. I found her quite interesting. Some of the dynamics were okay in it, but it didn't offer anything special for me. I mean, I don't want it in my collection. I've got no interest in it. It's like the only episode I'd want out of all is the giggle. The others I could just binge. I'm sorry.
Well, I suppose a fair point at this point is to ask you, at least with New Who, obviously a test for a new Doctor is their first episode. So of course you're thinking about the first, not so much Christopher Eccleston because that was a whole new era, but the first episodes of like David Tennant, the first episode of Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi. How does it stand compared to those previous Doctors' first episodes, do you think?
I don't compare to the Tennant. Again, I wasn't a big fan of Matt Smith's Christmas specials, like the.
What about his first episode? What about his first episode? Because I thought that was pretty good.
What Shooties?
No, Matt Smith's first episode.
Matt Smith. I've been watching Matt Smith over the last couple of days. I'm going through the old Pandorica thing at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm sort of enjoying more now than what I did before. Mm-hmm. But even though it's getting annoyed with River Song and all that, I found the dragged out. But I wouldn't put it up in the top 5 episodes for Christmas. I mean, Matt Smith's Christmas episode. What is it? The Witch and the Wardrobe. That was terrible. But he had the good one with the Scrooge one, didn't he? Which I thought was quite good. Yeah. But I did like the Peter Capaldi one with the superhero. I thought.
You like that one? Was it? I can't remember. It's Monstero or something. I can't remember.
I thought that was really good. But I found this. I mean, look, it's the first episode. It's his first outgoing. I was expecting not Doctor Who meet Gremlins and then turn into a musical.
Did have a Gremlins vibe to it.
And then it became a musical.
All right. So, what did you think about the musical scene?
Well, it didn't really. I just didn't. So I would have rather have had like. I wanted a series. I wanted like something like the Christmas Invasion for his first episode. Something impactful. Instead, we got this of the ladder, and they're all climbing up to the magic beanstalk up at the top with the little evil creatures. I mean, there were funny moments that with Davina McCall. I found all that. I mean, I did laugh.
Yeah.
But I mean, after I'd seen it, it didn't leave any. It wasn't the giggle, was it? Really, it lacked. But like I said, this is only the Christmas Day episode. But Disney have got their influence in there now. It's in there. It's there. Yeah. It's there.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because at the end of the episode, there was a great big Disney logo that came on in the end credits. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Just like literally as it finished, then it had like a big thing, like it said 2024. They had a big Disney logo. Then they had a very short post-credit scene with this character who we think must be something to do with Time Lords because she knows what a TARDIS is. I think from me, I like I said, I give it for the benefit of the doubt. The only thing I did feel that Shooty's Doctor was a bit underused. Apparently, the scene where he talks to the police officer, and I heard this. I don't know if this is actually definite or not, but apparently Disney said that they wanted a scene more with shooting, and so that scene where he talks to the police officer who's about to ask his girlfriend to marry him, and apparently that was actually a late shooted scene added to get a bit more, because you don't really. I mean, you saw the Doctor, this new Doctor, but you didn't really see much about what he's about. He was running around, and he was, he's nice enough, and. They linked up with the timeless child thing with him being abandoned, which I actually thought was at least a nice bit of canon.
That's established now. But
I'm glad that they actually, I don't actually mind that storyline. I know a lot of people loathed it. I don't mind it. I mean, it's 60 years. It's about.
Well, they want freedom to do other things with this now, and sometimes you have to break canon to develop growth for something. And they found a way around it. A lot of people are not happy with this, and the episode. Well, from some of the reviews, apparently the ratings weren't that brilliant for it. But I mean, it was all right. It was a Christmas episode. Most Christmas episodes have been pretty bad anyway. I mean, I would have preferred something better than Gremlins, but then again, like what I'm saying, for one audience. I found that they were focusing probably more on a younger audience than the our age sort of audience. Do you know what I mean? I think they have to be very careful, because a lot of the loyal audience have followed it for years. If they lose them, then they're only going to be left with a certain audience, and it's not going to work.
Well, the thing is, you see, I mean, it is always been family based. But it's what, as you say, what they don't want to do is alienate the long-term fans and make it a bit more kiddified. Is that the right term? Do you think? I don't think it has been. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I've only seen it once. I don't know if you've watched it since.
I've watched it twice.
And how was your second viewing?
I'd say it was slightly better. Slightly better. I'm not bowled over by it, but I did like it. I did like it in a limited capacity.
After the giggle, I love the giggle. I really enjoyed that episode. I just thought it was superb. But the thing was, him that played the villain, the actor, he was the star of that entire
Neil Patrick
episode.
Harris, you mean?
Yeah. And it's interesting that a personality like his wasn't in it. And it lacked. This episode should have been like that. It should have had that gravitas to it, and it lacked it.
You don't normally get that in Christmas episodes. They're normally fluff episodes. They're not normally. I often consider a lot of Doctor Who Christmas episodes as a bit
terrible.
Well, they're just more sort of like generic, a bit slightly silly, like the one where Capaldi meets Father Christmas, or the talk, like talking snowmen and spinning Christmas trees. That's part of the Doctor Who Christmas vibe.
It is, but it's also Doctor Who. I mean, this could be the last round of it now. I mean, if this next series don't take off, they're going to bury this.
But then you think about like the first season, we had like what was it? You had I'm trying to think what they were, farting aliens in like the first few episodes, or you had the fat monsters, the ones that they had the diet pill, and they're like the fat monsters, and they're like, baby. It does have that quirkiness.
Yeah, that's why you love it so much. But I didn't even find that it didn't have the quirkiness in this. For me, if they've had some weird and quirky and nice and bouncy, I'd have been into it. But it didn't really make me put a smile on. At one point, I actually started thinking, when I started singing, they were dancing about. I thought, am I watching a musical here?
Yeah, well, I
just don't think that. Look, him in the nightclub, everybody's complained about it. I didn't mind that. We've got a young, vibrant Doctor. That's if the Doctor goes nightclubbing, the Doctor goes nightclubbing.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants. Is the bloody time that he's in it. He don't think like you or I in our terms.
No, exactly.
And some people, I think a lot of people don't sort of, he's like, last season he was a woman. Now he's this person. He's changed again, and he's going to change again. And this is all part of who he is. So with each regeneration, you get a different. Everybody gets time to make the mark on that character.
I think one issue is that each recent regeneration, apart from the Tennant returning thing, is they're trying to push the boundaries of what the Doctor should be. Obviously, they had a female Doctor, which was a big jump, which they've never done before. Now they've got a person of colour, which is fine, nothing wrong, and also potentially. And also potentially gay. I don't know whether that's going to be part of his character. But what I'm saying is,
he's beyond such things.
But is he? I mean, I know, but they might. I mean, yeah, but he fell in love with Rose at one point, didn't he? When he was in Tennant's for.
Yeah, that's because but they went into that. So that's because he was lonely, and after Time War, it had messed him up.
I like him to be asexual. I like him to be a person who just wants to explore the universe with a companion.
Yeah,
encounter all sorts of well-written, interesting storylines in the realms of science fiction. Although, of course, that's going to become more fantasy.
Well, I think you've just did something which is the dynamic of this, what you've just said now.
What was that?
Because when somebody, when the Doctor got a new companion and they go into the TARDIS for the first time, and he says he loves taking that person out of their world into something much bigger. So a lot of it you are seeing through the companion's eyes with him. When you go on that, when you put on an episode of Doctor Who, you're not the Doctor, you're seeing it through how the companion sees it.
That's right. Yeah.
And
the Doctor is like a guide. The Doctor is a guide.
Yeah, and I found this episode lacked a lot of that, and this is where they have to be very careful. Like when Rose went in there and Catherine Tate's character, and they were all affected by this, because they've been taken out of their little world into this much bigger picture, and it changes you, and that is the magic of Doctor Who. And I just think I found a lot of this sort of lacked it. You got it to what right at the end when she got into.
I was going to say though, at the end, Ruby did have that aspect, though, didn't she? When she got in the TARDIS and she did have been
there. It should have been there more before that. The build into it, and I just think it's that. Look, I know it's got to change, and think they're going to change. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. You're either going to like it or not like it. But I think there's certain qualities in a 60, 50 year canon. You can't just write it off. And I just think they have to be very careful. If they Disneyfy this too much, people are going to be switching off.
All right, so before we wrap up, because we've got the Zoom thing, how would you give an example of it being Disneyfied? What is it would make it more Disneyfied?
I thought with the earlier what the
Gremlins,
goblins,
yeah.
The gremlins and the singing and it said about the colouring in the film.
Okay.
You know, there was something very Disney about it, and then at the end,
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
I could be wrong. This is what I saw on that day. I'm not bothered about him being gay or what. None of that bothers me. I'm more interested in how he's going to make his mark. He seems that apparently he's the top theatre actor. He's one of the best theatre actors in the country.
Okay.
And I think it's different. I mean, we forgot another Doctor. They're going to be different. He's totally different.
Yeah, that's what you've got to be. You've got. That's the whole point. That's how it's written. That they're going to make.
You've got to be open-minded to it. So.
Yeah.
There's going to be no judgment until episode 5 of the new series. I'm sitting, but I thought for a starter, this could have been more impressive. I really do, because the ratings were in the toilet. It had a little lift. And I thought finally we're going to get on right.
I don't think the ratings were that bad. I mean, the thing is, though, and people say this, and I'm going to say this again, the ratings are going to be naturally lower now because less people watch live TV. This now is higher than soap operas. This beat EastEnders, it beat Coronation Street. Now, do you remember the days back in the 80s when Doctor Who was Sylvester? Well, no, but do you remember when it was put against Doctor was put against Coronation Street with Sylvester McCoy in the 80s, and then it all fizzled out because it was against the most popular show on TV, and now, and Martin's frozen by the way. He looks like he's looking into a time tunnel or something. It was the other way around. Doctor Who smashed the ratings, and I want to see exactly what.
You look like you're paused in.
Yeah, you paused as well.
Oh, sorry, you froze then. I was looking at you and it was like you frozen in time. Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Sorry, Doctor Who. No, you're right. The ratings years ago were 20 million on 10 million. But more people watched it on iPlayer, apparently. So
Yeah, but that's the nature of TV these days.
yeah,
People
yeah.
don't sit there and watch your live TV these days, and I can't bear it. I mean, like I said, I hardly watch anything live. I just don't like live TV. But you know.
Well, before we go, I've got did you know Paramount and Warner might be merging?
Oh God, yeah. I've only got 2 minutes before we hit phase 2. Yeah, but that's because Paramount Plus are in big trouble, and they're trying to consolidate. I can't say the word. Their assets together, and it's a way of a merger to prop each other up, kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah.
So that would be interesting. I just wanted to see the ratings actually. Here we are. So yeah, Christmas it got 4.73 million.
Yeah, well, 4.73
but
million.
The previous episode though got 4.62. But then after all the +7, all the stuff that it jumped up to 6.85. So this will probably end up about nearly 7 million at the end of it. So that's not bad.
It's average, isn't it? It should have been 8 or 9, but it's average. But first episode, let's wait until the new series starts. You know,
all right. Hopefully it'll be good. Well, on that note, we're going to go into our focus of the week. But interesting times, and let's hope it does well this year. So, right, let's go into our focus of the week. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
Focus of the Week.
We're back.
And we're back with Marcy clearing his throat. We are back with a film from 2014, which is on Wikipedia. It's described as an epic science fiction film, co-written, directed, and produced by Christopher Nolan, of course, who's quite a big writer and director and everything else. It stars Matthew McConaughey, I can't pronounce it, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Bill Irwin, Ellen Burstyn, Michael Caine, Matt Damon, and John Lithgow's in it as well, but he's not mentioned on here. And I like John Lithgow, but he's not mentioned in this thing for some reason. And it's set in a dystopia future where humanity is embroiled in a catastrophic blight and with famine, and the film follows a group of astronauts who travel through a wormhole near Saturn to search for a new home for humankind. Excuse my cough. I gave this a rewatch over the Christmas holidays because I just fancied it, and it is a long film. Because Martin asked for us to review a film with Kurt Russell called Soldier, which I watched today and fell asleep in it, I have to admit, but I rewatched it. But Martin also, I said to him, I might not get a chance to watch his recommendation. He very, very kindly soldiered through, gave the film a rewatch over the recently, and he's already given me some input about what he feels about it. So let's first ask Martin for this film for 2014. You've obviously seen it before. What did you think about it? I don't think you liked it that much. What is it you didn't like about it? What put you off it?
Bored shitless.
You're bored shitless?
Bored shitless.
No, I thought it was quite entertaining.
That's it. It's to a point. It's well, it is. It starts off really well, and I love the special effects are superb. Right. Even scientists have said about that film that if you got
the black hole, that's what it looked like. Yeah, I've heard that.
This what it would
that's
like.
Exactly
The
what it looked like,
outline of it would look like.
Curved light would just be like,
Admire all that. Brilliant. Loved it when they landed on that planet with water at tidal wave.
Oh yeah, that was a good scene.
And then we got the answer, and that's where it shot itself up its own ass with that.
Which
for
bit?
me.
Which bit?
Well, when we got the answer to it all.
Oh, okay. That was
and I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" You know, in the library with the books and then it all goes back to years ago when books, and it's him in the future pushing the book, led by the omnipotent aliens that are future descendants of us, that's guiding the human race to this other star system, and all that. And I just gave up. I thought, come on, is this what this is about?
Yeah.
And that was it. 3 hours for that. for that.
Do you know
sorry.
what? And, we normally agree on a lot of things. I actually thought it was a really quite a good concept. It might not have been the most original in some ways, but I like the way that it was done. I like that lots of elements, especially as a family man myself, him going on this mission to literally say goodbye to his children. And never go back until, and obviously we do see they age during the film, and there's some great scenes in I think it's the second planet when they're near the black hole, where each hour they're there, it's 7 hours, 7 years in real time, and it was under pressure. I you know what? I actually think this film's really good. I really.
Yeah, I think from a scientific point of view, I think this film is amazing. I'd say, look, I'm not at all hater on this film.
No, it's fine. If you are,
it's like when I did and I thought this is getting interesting, and it were going along superbly, and then we got the answer, and I thought, come on, this can't be it. This can't be it. So he's already played out the events in the past with his future self, being guided by omnipotent aliens that are future versions of us to make sure we get to this planet so nothing interferes with their evolution. Do you know what I mean? Of course, it's genius, but I would expect.
But why did he like that? I mean, if you think it's genius, then it's
well, they could have gone about it in a different way.
Right, all right. So, what is it that you think that they should have done?
Why are you asking me that? I think it should have been a meeting, like when they left that planet where 7 years had passed, and that somehow they got sucked into a certain part of black hole, and one of these aliens appeared. And like one of the best films on this level. Interstellar is a highly intelligent film. I just feel that the ending let it down. That is the rest of it I don't have a problem with.
Okay.
But one of these hyper intelligent movies for me, Contact, was surpassed this in every level.
I don't even remember that film very well. Jodie Whittaker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely spectacular because you're expecting something massive, and when she finally gets there, they're just like, all we want to do is say hello to you, and that's it.
That's the end.
But that's enough. It's like to us, it's this big thing of struggle and building, and it brings everything into it. And when she finally meets them, there's no big cosmic answers. It's hello, how are you? Just want to tell you you're not alone, and that's it. And we don't know who invented these places where we can speak to other races. You know, and that's what I loved about it. I just found that the library book thing, I thought for me was a cop out. I would have liked to have seen something like that, where even if it had been a future version of themselves, like telling them you've had to do this to set certain events.
So what you're saying
is
because
it's a time loop.
So because it was more in the background as to a guide as to how civilization. You would have preferred it if there was more of an entity or something, maybe something.
I would have preferred it more. Sometimes we're big. Have you seen that other film? I forgot where them big spaceships come to Earth, and they look like bananas. They're floating all over.
Oh God! Arrival.
Arrival.
I like that.
I'm a big fan of it.
Arrival's good.
When they finally got the answer to it all, that were very clever how it was done. Even though it's time travel with the writing, and they're here because something happens in the future and we saved them, and and that they've come back to prepare us for that moment in the future. I loved all that, but I found Interstellar lacked that. I've got Interstellar. I do have it. And it was a good film. I mean, absolutely loved the film, but the ending was a massive cop out for me.
That's fair.
That's it. The rest of the film I thought was superb. Yeah. I get it, the family thing and that disease that's killing all the food on Earth. And
like a blight thing or something.
I just thought, and I did like the ending where the bigger spaceships turned up when they were floating around in space.
And it looked like an interior, wasn't it? It was like they
found them because of the time differential. I like that. But I found the whole thing in the room of library books just would a cop out for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Well, I think from my perspective, I mean, I first of all, I have not seen the film for a long time. I saw it obviously over the Christmas.
Nor have I.
But I was pleasantly surprised. I just found the whole film. I think that it seemed to go very, very fast. And Christopher Nolan's films, obviously, he did Oppenheimer, which I've still not seen.
Oh, that.
But he also did Inception, I think, and I loved Inception.
I didn't mind Inception.
Inception,
to be
I thought
honest.
was really
I
good.
didn't mind it.
That was another film I'd like to review. I really
very
like that
clever film.
I love that film. I just like the idea, and also one of the aspects I liked was that there were 3 potential planets that they were thinking about that they could colonize in the future. The first was the water one with the tidal wave. The second one was the really cold one with the guy who was stuck there, and he was crazy. And he was trying to get back home, and he was trying to. Was it Matt Damon who played?
Yeah,
I think it was him. Was it Matt Damon? I think it was. And then, of course, in the end, it was the third planet that was the one which was the best option for them.
For the human race.
For the human race.
Yeah.
Which I mean, the library thing, you know, the way that it was like a future thing, this is the only way that they could intervene with this weird kind of like books, sort of like, it was weird, like a sort of psychedelic kind of books into walls.
It was interesting, but I just found it a bit of a cop-out. You see, another film like this that had a deplorable ending but is a superb watch until that point is Ad Astra with Brad Pitt.
I still haven't seen that yet.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but I mean, you might like it, but when I watched Ad Astra, I love the future world of like mid-20th century Earth, and they've got a colony on Mars, and they have to go out to the far side of the solar system, and when you finally, these pulses that are coming into our solar system affecting Earth, and you find out sort of why. I don't want to give you any spoil because you might like it. I was extremely disappointed with
I'll
that
keep
film.
that in mind when I see it. Okay.
But I won't give. I don't want to spoil it because you might like it, and you know, and that's the beauty of this. We've both got different opinions.
Oh yeah.
Like Oppenheimer is meant to be this highly intelligent movie. I would say Oppenheimer, and I was bored shitless.
Were you bored? But were you bored shitless with Interstellar as well?
No, I wasn't bored with Interstellar. I just found the ending was a cop-out. That's my issue with it. It's like 2010. I always view as one of my all-time favourite films.
I love 2010.
I think it stands equal to the first one. A lot of people...
No, I agree entirely.
I think it's... If you're going to make a sequel and you get a sequel right, that is the perfect sequel.
Absolutely.
Also,
100%.
it simplifies what went on in the first one. It explains it.
Yep.
And I like that. It's like the missing part of the jigsaw.
Yeah. And it actually makes the original even better. Because you watch the original after seeing the sequel, it just goes hand in hand. It just really, although they're different, they just both work for what they are.
I've watched both them films together, and
Me too.
and it fits perfect. It's like two halves being joined, like yin and yang.
Yeah.
And Interstellar it's a spectacular film. I mean, I watched it this afternoon, and I thought this is spectacular, but it just the ending. When you make these sort of like films like this, like Oppenheimer, that it's highly intelligent movie. But the problem, it were going everywhere. His affairs, his politics, and then. But the moment is meant to be when the bomb goes off. That feeling, and when when you get there, it's such a cop out, and then you just want the bloody film to end. You've got another 2 hours to go. Do you know what I mean about his life and all these like pointless bits in it? And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I went to see that with somebody and she fell asleep.
Really?
And yeah, she conked out in cinema, which I totally get. And she, highly intelligent person, she loves artistic movies, all that. But she conked out. And all I wanted to do was I just wanted to get out. I thought, when is this finishing? Interstellar is not quite like that, but that's the thing, Nolan. I found the Batman movies. The first two were good, but the third was a letdown for me.
What, did he do those as well? Did he?
I think so, Christopher.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think he did. Yeah,
Right.
and The Dark Knight.
Oh, he did those. Okay, right.
He did them, and they were all right. But then the third one was a massive letdown.
Okay.
But
So
with
he's like
Interstellar,
he's like one of those guys that it's not everything's hitting the ball out the park. He's obviously
well,
a mixed
he's
bag.
very good. He's got his own unique film style, and he does get into depth with stuff, and I get that and respect it. But with Interstellar, I can see why it won a load of awards. There was another film that came out at the same time, I think, or within that. Do you remember Gravity?
I do remember Gravity, and I like that.
I like Gravity,
Yeah, I like
but
Gravity.
that I found that I think they were out at the same time.
I think it was similar time, yeah.
Yeah, so there's like that cross connection.
Yeah.
And Gravity, I don't mind, but what is the problem? Is the ending, mate. I mean, I respect your opinion. I think
I respect yours.
99% of everything we do sort of agree on. But for me, I just wanted something a bit more of a meaningful cosmic ending.
More of a meaning to the whole film rather than the way that they tied it up.
About
Yeah, I
the
appreciate that.
struggle, and you walk out of cinema and you're thinking, that's interesting. You know, have you ever seen one of these highly intelligent films and you're on the bus or you in the car and it's at back of your mind, you download it and it's still
You're processing it.
yeah, and often Interstellar, it's such a shame. It's just that moment, but a lot of my friends enjoyed it.
This isn't the deepest film in the world, but when I watched, no, not this one. What I was going to say is when I went to the cinema and I watched Rogue One, because of the way it tied in with the original Star Wars movies and everything else, I came out of that cinema and my head was just buzzing. For hours afterwards.
Yep.
And that's what that's an example of, that's what I love about film. If you watch a really good film, and this is why I still wanted to see The Creator at the cinema. If I'd have seen that movie, and not everybody likes it. Like I said, I've talked to some people and they're like, oh, it's okay. And I was really blown away by The Creator, as you know, and you were as well.
Yeah.
But it is so good when you watch a real good film and you come out of the cinema and just think, yeah, that was so good. And that's what makes cinema different from watching it at home.
You see, it's like Contact. When you watch Contact, it's it starts off. She's like goes into her childhood at the beginning with her dad, and she becomes this astronomer, and then she picks up that alien message. It's coming from the stars. And they've simplified it. They've used old television programs to communicate with us, by editing all together. I love that. And then there's this like big, massive global movement of building this device to transport one person to this place. And then it gets sabotaged because like people are like religious and they're terrified, and this whole event disrupts the entire world's way of life because we're not alone, and that's what it focuses on. And when she finally gets there, and she meets her dad, and he's just saying, "Look, we don't know who built these warpways, space things. We use them, and we just tell races you're not alone. And at some point, we're all going to communicate, and we just want to say hello to you."
Yeah.
And it was a struggle to get to that moment, that 2-3 hours, because they built a backup one, didn't they?
That's it.
And it was just that and that billionaire character, and I just thought all this were amazing. I found Interstellar sort of lacked that for me.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. So I suppose we should sort of wrap it up soon. Let's just quickly ask, first of all, how do you find things like the visuals? The visuals are really good. It looks really good.
All of it's superb. I watched it today on a modern 4K TV, and I watched it, and it was spectacular. The visuals and the city is absolutely awesome,
and the acting was good. I like the actors,
Yes.
everybody involved with it. So. Yeah. I think. Look, I think that we should wrap it up. I would say that I really did enjoy it. I think it's a film you can't watch too often.
No,
because a lot goes on.
I agree with that.
But it is definitely worth, if you've not seen it, give it a watch. So I really suppose, really.
Yeah, but the thing is, you'd watch 2010 more than that, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah, I watch that every year. I just
it's
interesting that though, isn't it? Though how you pull that out of the collection and Interstellar, every 3 or 4 years?
Yeah. I think I would watch 2010 more often. Yeah, but but again, it's one of those films which has a lot of interesting concepts.
Yes.
And I think that for me, it really did tick the boxes. So, I suppose it's rating time. So I'll ask you, what would you give it out of 10?
And since I watched it today and it's still fresh in my mind, I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. And as I've just watched it last week, and I was really impressed with it, and I did like it, I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Fair enough.
So I think it's worth 8.5 at least.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fair sort of judgment. So, Martin, thank you very much for actually watching that again. I didn't know you were going to give that a rewatch for me, but I do appreciate you spending your time to get us some good input.
3 hours.
No, I'm sorry. I feel a bit guilty about that now. Actually, I didn't know you were actually going to rewatch it. But no, but the thing is, though, you've not seen it for quite a long time.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. So good.
Yeah, that's good. And likewise, I watched a movie which we're going to review next week called The Soldier. Oh no, not The Soldier. It's just called Soldier.
Soldier is a masterpiece of a film.
I wouldn't say it's got quite that far, but
I think Soldier. Do you know that is the most expensive.
We are going to talk about that.
All right, well, let's talk
week.
about it next week.
You fell
asleep. You fell.
I know, but it was look, I'm 51 now, and in the afternoon, if I put on a film on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock, and I was at home early today, and my eyes started getting. It was fun. It had a lot of action in it. It wasn't the films, and I rewatched it afterwards, the last 20 minutes of it, so I did see it. I can't help it. If it was anything, if it was like a new Star Wars movie coming out, and just I saw it for everybody else, I probably would still. My eyes are still. It's just that awful feeling when you can't.
It's that film and Outland and the same. Have we done Outland with Sean Connery?
You mentioned it.
We need to.
Oh no, I've seen it, but I'm not.
Yeah, I thought we'd done it.
No.
But Outland, they're saying that they're all these films are part of Blade Runner Alien Universe.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Because there is, I think in Aliens, the Tyrell Corporation's mentioned. Or Aliens, well, it's something. And in Soldier, you'll see the spinner from Blade Runner. It's in the. Yeah,
I like that.
The flying police car. Yeah, you see one.
Yeah, but isn't it the same? Like the HKs in the Terminator. I think you see an HK in Aliens.
I think you do, yeah.
In the space station at the beginning, where Ripley, you see an HK flying it is definitely an HK from Terminator in Aliens. So
yeah, definitely, yeah.
So, but obviously it's just the same model or a similar model they use. But as a nerd, we look for things where you think, oh, is it connected? Oh, you know what I mean?
Well, it would be good. It's interesting if Blade Runner is connected to the Aliens universe.
Well, I mean, we've got a lot of this year now because it's 2024. We've got a lot of Alien stuff coming up this year. We've got Alien Romulus and the TV show. So
yeah, they're connected, aren't they?
I don't know. I mean, obviously they both feature xenomorphs, but I don't know how they are in respect of each TV series and the movie. Whether they are linked or whether it's just in a franchise but not linked.
Well, do you think we'll be seeing Stargate this year?
Well, if I know Jay from Side Trek, hello Jay.
Hello Jay.
Thing is, you keep hearing potentially that there's going to be an announcement coming up, and then you hear that they were going to go and make a TV movie. Then it was going to be a proper movie. Now it's going to be a TV series again, and then they hear that MGM is doing something, and it's all. I think we should get an announcement this year. We would have to anyway. The most we'll get this year is an announcement because it'll take so long to put it all together. It won't be shown this year. So I'm hoping
next year, isn't it? No.
I'm hoping that we get an announcement and even some production kicking into gear.
Right.
What do you think? Do you think we'll get Stargate this year?
Next year, I think I'd like to hear the that it's announced this year. I would like to that we're getting it together now, and obviously it's going to be next year. It's because there's been too much going on, you know.
And the one thing I'm hoping to hear, which I don't think is going to happen, is another season of the Orville. That's gone very, very quiet.
Yeah.
And the more we don't hear about anything, the less chance I would imagine that anything will actually. And it'd be a shame because I did think that was a good series.
Because you're just going to move on from it. It's a shame, really, because I would have liked to have had a season 4 of that this year.
Yeah, I would love to have seen another season of that.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget they were right when they first started. It was both the Orville and Discovery, and it's a shame that Discovery, which
they were both on at the same time.
Yeah, and now Discovery is finishing this year, and 5 years of, I still say, is the worst Star Trek ever made in the history of 60 years nearly. It's terrible.
Yeah. But I'm obviously going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, they have actually just released. Before we go, very quickly, do you want to know the names of the actual 10 episodes and what the actual titles are? Because I've got that. If you're interested,
Well, go on.
Very quickly. Okay, let me go into Trek Movie Come. Okay, so the episodes which we have for season 5 are the following. Okay, episode 1 is called Red Directive, which suggests it's some new tint on the Prime Directive.
Yep.
Episode 2, Under Two Moons, so that can mean anything. Episode 3 is Jinal, so it must be a character in the season.
Alien, yep.
Episode 4, Face the Strange. Okay, that could be anything. Episode 5, this could be something. Episode called Mirrors. So, please, we're not going to go back to the Mirror Universe again, are we?
No, they said they can't go back because the Mirror Universe has moved too far
No, but that title is similar, though. Mirrors.
Yeah.
Episode 6, Whistles Speak. Okay. Episode 7, Erika, which is obviously another alien. Episode 8, Labyrinths. Episode 9, Lagrange Point. And episode 10, the series finale, Life Itself. It's life, Jim, but not as you know.
That's where we're going to get the big fuck up in final episode. We're all going to. The thing is, we discovered it before we go.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it always starts. First couple of episodes, it always starts
quite good. Yeah.
And you think, well, finally they've got their shit together,
and then they flush it down the toilet.
And then they flush it down. By episode 4, it's like, what am I watching? You know, I remember like the last series with the when the intergalactic barrier were mentioned, I got so excited.
And it did not look like what it's supposed to look like, did it?
No, it didn't. And then there were these things looking up planets, but it were on the other side of the barrier. I thought, right at last, there's some entity or force or something, they're gonna have to stop it. And then when we got there, they didn't even know they were doing it. It were like, oh, sorry, like, you know, we didn't know. We really apologise, you know, sucking up fucking planets because you're so below us.
I don't know why,
didn't realise,
but it's like,
just sick of that.
You just give me the analogy of a bin man who's actually sort of like picked up a bag of rubbish outside someone's house. Someone comes out and says, "That's not to be thrown away," and they sort of say, "Oh, sorry, mate, sorry." I just don't know why, but I'm thinking of a bin man now with a bag of rubbish. That's the way the analogy of Discovery season 4. It's such a shame, that series. Honestly, I cannot believe how bad that series was. It was terrible.
Well, we'll be watching it and
I know,
and,
and it'll be the same. Episode 1, you'll be saying, "I think that was all right. I think that was
okay." We've had this guy
every year for 4 years.
Michael, did you watch Discovery? Yeah, it was really good. I mean, what the galactic barrier?
And then the last episode said, "What the fuck was that?"
and it was like the season where they went into the future and there were no fucking warp drive and all this, it was like, oh, the burn happened in 27th century or whatever, and was there some force behind it? And then we get there, it's a kid having a fucking tantrum.
Yeah, he was like blowing his nose or something, or farting.
Yeah, you know, every time he had an emotional issue, everybody like got destroyed, and they had to get the kid out. And it was like there were an entire solar system full of dilithium, and nobody discovered it.
No.
I mean, I was just sat there watching that, and I thought, oh, I'm not going back to this. And then they got me again. First 3 episodes, season 4. Oh, Michael, did you the galactic barrier?
I know we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And then they dragged it out, of course, until about episode 8 till we finally got there.
Bloody episode.
Then it was these weird blobs, wasn't it? It's like blobs of bubbles or something.
Yeah.
What that? That's not the barrier.
Trying to replicate Star Trek the motion picture in the scene.
Yeah, but not completely failing in that aspect.
Yeah, communicating them through lights. And you're like, oh, so I've sat through 15 fucking episodes. Do you know, I've never bought it, you know. I bought Strange New Worlds. I bought them on 4K. I bought them. I don't mind, but I've never bought fucking Discovery. I won't buy it. I'll probably buy season 1. That's only one on season 2.
Season 2, season 1's
Yeah, but that's only good because he's in it.
Yeah, of course it is.
When he fucks off, it all went back up.
Yeah,
its own
season 2 was the strongest. Season 2 was pretty good.
I
actually I can watch most episodes of season 1 and 2 are actually quite standalone. You can actually watch 1 or 2 episodes and not
that's because he's in it. When he walked onto that bridge, that series got some respect.
Anson Mount was such a good actor.
He was.
I really like him. He's brilliant. I'm so glad they got him in the show.
Yeah. And then he went and cleared off, and it were like, you know, we're back. Oh, Michael, the galactic barrier. And and then it's some like aliens over in up planet. Oh, sorry, we didn't know that.
And also
you existed.
I've never known a Star Trek series with so few exterior scenes of the ship flying around. I'm a ship guy. You hardly ever see the bloody ship.
Well, don't you remember that episode when they were flying through it in turbo lift and it looked like Doctor Who's TARDIS
it was
inside?
big on the inside. I know. It looked like a city inside.
Turbo
lift shaft.
Well, when did they build ships like that? I mean, it was a fucking TARDIS. That was just when I just switched off after that. I thought, where are they going in turbo lift? It was like travelling 50 miles.
It looked like a TARDIS flying through the vortex, practically.
Oh look, there's the engineering room down there. 6,000 miles down there. We could see, and it's only 6,000 miles down there.
That's all right. Yeah, it's just like it's like the other side of the solar system to get there or something. Martin, well, thank you very much for that, and thank you for spending your time for the podcast, giving your input, and it's been a funny one. It's been a good one, mate. So thank you very much.
Good one for New Year. I'll see you next week at the same time, same place.
We'll be there then, and have a good one, people. Live long.
Happy
and prosper.
New Year, and live long and prosper.
A man walks into a pub and asks for a pint of anything except Stella. Barman asks, "What's wrong with Stella?" The man says, "I had 12 pints of Stella last night, and when I came round I was fucking skint." Barman says, 12 pints of anything costs about the same. The man replies, "Skint is my dog."